Hello, everyone. It's with sadness that I find we at Danger by Degrees are needed to speak again. Now, unfortunately, the events of the Russian-Ukraine war require us to speak. In this first video, before we get into background crises and all of that, we're going to focus on what is important, and that is the people. The people are what matters, and we're going to start with what is happening to those who are fleeing the country and what they need in this episode. So everyone, just a quick disclaimer. To let everybody know, my grandfather he's no longer with us, but my grandfather was Ukrainian. I have many extended family in Manitoba and in much of the prairie parts of Canada who are Ukrainian. So for me, I kind of feel a little bit personal about what's going on. And the first topic and the first episode that we're talking about is dealing with refugees and those people who have been disrupted by this war and what is going on. 1.5 million, as of what the public media has been describing, have left Ukraine. You'll notice that many of those leaving are elderly, mothers with young children, and generally there's one group that is lacking, and that would be men. Many children who are male, under the age of 16, and many elderly males over the age of 60 are exempt from this. And the reason for this is that the government of the Ukraine has deemed anybody between the ages of 16 to basically 60 who are male could be drafted into fighting the war. So the men are being kept behind, and the women, children, elderly, anybody who's handicapped, infirm, are being allowed out. What do people need on a general day? Well, think about it. Well, you need shelter, you need food, and generally you need kind of mental security. Right now, many of those who are fleeing from Ukraine don't have any of that. A lot of people are now fleeing, not knowing if they're going to come back home. Many are fleeing without their medications. Many are fleeing without a sense of security. Many Ukrainians who are fleeing also have health problems. And you've been seeing a lot of in the media, children who are receiving cancer treatment have had to flee, and now their cancer treatments have been disrupted. You've got people who are handicapped who can't or are physically unable to, for instance, just go up a hill, and they're being helped by others. You have people who have needed prescriptions and health problems who are now all of a sudden kicked out of their stable life where they were getting medical treatment or at least some kind of help to treat their symptoms, mental health or physical. Now all of a sudden, the people that are fleeing have no shelter, have no physical security, don't know where they're going to get their next meal, and generally, for those who were able, they may have a change of clothing, they may have some kind of transportation, but the reality is that many people have fled with just the clothes on their backs, the health that they have, and without their husbands, fathers, older brothers. The people who are leaving have certain needs. They need shelter, they need food, and they need some kind of security in the form of mental health or physical health. Many people are fleeing to Poland, they're fleeing to Hungary, they're fleeing to Romania, they're fleeing to the Czech and Slovakian republics. Any country whose borders they can get into, they could all be bringing with them just enough clothing to maybe have one change. But right now, it's not even spring yet in Europe. And in the Ukraine and Poland and that area, it is cold. And a lot of people might not even be dressed for the weather. They had to run with what they had when they could get the chance to get out. So there's going to be needs such as shelter, food. People will probably need shoes and a change of clothes. You're going to need to dress appropriately to the weather. And so countries like Poland are doing everything they can to process and move people to better places where they can at least get shelter, so where they can at least get a decent night's sleep. A lot of people are experiencing mental stress, and that's the other point that's going on. For all of those who have fled, they don't have any normalcy anymore. They do not have any sense of routine. They have no sense of themselves. They've been literally ripped from their lives, and so therefore, children don't know why their dad isn't home. Mothers don't know how to explain to their children what is going on. People's mental health have taken a hit, and there's a level of trauma. And depending on where people have fled, some people got out before anything really happened. Others got out when the fighting started, and they might have seen or heard of some blasts in the background or explosion sounds, and they got out. Others possibly, and as you could hear in the news, some have seen family die in front of them. Some people were able to get out from sieges before they became a full-on siege. Some have seen the direct fighting. So there's going to be a spectrum of mental health needs. There's also a lot of people who are fleeing who do not have proper health care. Because Ukraine is the home of Chernobyl, there's a lot of people who've been suffering from long-term radiation exposure. And so a lot of people, there's a higher rate of cancer. And so a lot of people need ongoing cancer treatment. And so a lot of those who are fleeing have now had their cancer treatment disrupted, or those who have some kind of ongoing health care problem have had their health care disrupted. And so now all the people that have gotten into Poland or Hungary or Romania need to establish a new healthcare routine. They need to get shelter, and they need to get food. And the thing is that from the emergency management process, it comes in like this. They in-dock the people, that is, they come in, they register them, they make sure that they're who they say they are. They try to arrange to get transport from the border so that you don't have large clogs of people who are just waiting, because it creates anxiety and it creates a situation where you could end up having riots break out because people are hungry. So you're trying to get food to people as they wait. You're trying to process them and get them to secondary facilities where other health services and mental health services can treat them. You're getting people who are coming into Poland and places like that. They're trying to meet them up with their friends or family who may be in Poland, and you're trying to basically have them processed, know who they are, register them, and get them onto secondary services that could then help them. You also have the nonprofits that are now trying to get them care kits. So Salvation Army, Save the Children, Red Cross are used to this. They're used to providing and dealing with emergency situations. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get them packets that would contain a change of clothes, shoes, some spending money, arrange to get them seen by physicians if they have medical issues, and try to at least get them to a place where they can get shelter, get regular food, and start getting them back to normalcy and providing some sort of routine that will help deal with the mental health issues. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the people inside Ukraine and talk about what they're facing.